We're now live.
Train! Misha and the train!
Yeah, where is the train? Hello, everybody.
I saw something, Larry, I think he's trying to get in or something. He left a message on the
Oh, did he?
Hangout. Let's see what he's saying.
I don't know what is happening with this.
Well, I found the notification at the top of my notifications. I just got
out, yeah, to each of you.
Yeah, yours is easy.
Yeah,
Individually.
The notifications has changed to a picture of a link now, a chain link. It doesn't say what it used to say. It looks different.
Okay.
You're in Chrome?
Yes. Yes. But it's in the same position in the top right-hand side. You know, when you go into Chrome, you've got
Google Plus
and Gmail and all that along there. It's in the same position where your notifications were, but it looks like a chain link, like an infinity symbol.
And some of the people, like Dennis, I had a really hard time. Usually when I just start typing DEN, he comes up. And
right.
Not today. Had a hard time finding. I actually had to invite him separately. So
do you have a special Hangout account or something? Because if I just start a Hangout with 5 clients or, 5 people, it's not like go live and all that. Or that's just because you're taping it.
That's because we're live. There's different kinds of Hangout. One is live and one is not.
Okay.
One on air, you need a YouTube account to go with it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm being stupid.
So, yeah, you can hang out with anyone without that YouTube account, but it's not recorded.
But what's weird is my logo like missing? I see like the bottom on my logo up on my lower third. Can you see the ASB?
It says Sarah Laidlaw Accounting Services. That's it.
Yeah, but up in the corner, do you see my logo?
ASB, yes.
Fine, mine's gone. I used to have one where I don't have to type it in.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about.
But see, then I'm not seeing what you're seeing. And then this morning, I kept sharing my screen, and they were like, every time somebody talks, their face pops up. We can't see your Excel. And I'm like...
And did you try clicking on the thumbnail, your thumbnail, when you were screen sharing?
Yeah. It was making me crazy. And last week, I did fine, so...
What Hangout did you do? Did you do Seth's Hangout this morning?
No, I missed it because mine went from 10 to 12, and I was just like, we screwed around with the stupid computer so long, by the time we really got into it,
Oh, gosh, mine is backwards.
So I was so mad that I missed Seth's Hangout, but...
It's still blue.
What's blue?
Good one.
Yeah. My color on the bar.
Yes, it is.
I don't know.
Do I have one? Do you guys
You
see
should have a lower third. Turn on your lower third.
I'm just seeing your picture of that.
I can't turn mine on. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's because it's my picture.
Well, no, you have to have the camera on to have the lower third show.
Okay, yeah, well, okay, forget
If
that.
you have the camera off, all it shows is...
I'm going to put my hair, and I'm going to scare anybody right now.
Aww. Well, Yvette, while we have you, you had a question. Let's talk about what your question is.
I'm debating whether to... I'm a sole proprietorship right now, and I want to know if I need some advice on whether to become... I was really looking into like an S-Corp, but I've been told that, my accountant suggested not for because I'm just a sole proprietorship, and the people I have that work for me, they're subcontractors. So I don't have employees. The only reason, two reasons why I wanted to become a corporation is, number one, for protection, to protect my assets. Number two is I wanted to take out payroll on myself.
Okay.
That's another thing.
If you want payroll,
Maybe it's an S-Corp.
we need Dennis or Bruce here. If you want payroll, you should be an S-Corp. If you want to be an LLC, which is really the same as a sole proprietor, unless you're doing a partnership LLC, then you're a partnership.
No, not a partnership.
One member on your LLC, you are a sole proprietor, you are filing the Schedule C along with your individual return.
Being an LLC can be an S corp.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
An LLC is a limited liability
Corporation.
company. It was designed by some states. Not all states have it, and it is a state designation, not a federal designation. It was dreamed up to protect sole proprietors by giving them some sort of a legal document where your assets are underneath this LLC, and people would go to sue you, and they could only get the assets that were in the LLC.
Yeah, and LLCs are, you know, like I could be either, I'm going to be probably a single member as opposed to.
Well, so what happens is you get this member document, but then you have to decide, what am I for federal purposes? Am I a sole proprietorship? Am I a partnership? Am I S corp or am I a C corp? Because the federal government could care less. They could care less about these LLCs.
Right.
So it's caused a lot of trouble in that people think that these LLCs are this magic thing that protects them from liability. But a really good attorney who can pierce a corporate shield, if you don't run your corporation properly, can really pierce an LLC shield.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So right now you are smart. You've got your business checking account, and that, you know, pretty much runs your tax return. So you keep everything in your business checking account,
Mm-hmm.
and you keep it segregated. If you were to become an LLC, you would start a new bank account, or maybe the bank will let you convert it. But you need a bank account that says LLC.
Right.
You need to do business as an LLC, so that whoever you're doing business with knows that they're doing business with your LLC versus just Yvette over here.
Right, and I'd have to show proof to the bank. Yeah, I know how these work because I do this.
Right. So, but I don't want to get it confused with an LLC. You know, LLC it causes a lot of problems, especially with 1099s and W9s, because people go to fill out their W9 and they don't know what I'm an LLC. I said, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Nobody cares you're an LLC. How do you pay taxes? It's
How do you pay taxes? And they go, huh? You know, and I go find your tax return. They are clueless, and if they're that clueless on what kind of tax return they file, you know they're not really protecting themselves legally.
Right.
So, you know, my brother became an LLC, filing as an S corp, and I went,
Yep.
why?
Yeah.
Oh,
Why
that's
aren't you
the most popular. That's the most popular way to do it for tax savings. That's all.
Well, wait
all
a minute.
of my sole
Why aren't you just
are
an S corp?
That being said, I know some of my colleagues, people that I know that are top influencers in our industries that are LLCs. So I was thinking, you know,
It doesn't mean anything.
No.
Unless you know what kind of LLC they are, you don't know.
and like, you know, my like I said, my accountant, when I talked to her, because she's been doing my taxes for a very long time,
Right.
I went to her and I asked her, you know, like about 6 months ago, hey, you know, I'm thinking and blah blah blah, just like I told you guys, and she says, whatever you do, don't become an LLC. That's a joke. That's, you know, and
It's confusing.
Do you have a TIN number? Did you file an SS4 for your company?
no, not yet. I haven't done any of that. I mean,
Oh, okay. Well, even when I was a sole proprietorship, I had an EIN because I don't give
I
out.
have an EIN number. I got that the day I started my business.
Yeah, anybody can have an EIN number.
Yeah,
Right.
You use instead of their social security number, and then when I started getting employees, that's the number I used for the payroll returns. But I was a sole proprietorship, so I wasn't on the payroll.
No.
And at some point, I needed, you know, back then the health insurance was so crazy, so as I grew, I said, this is before LLCs could protect you, so the next step was a corporation immediately became an S corp. So an S corp, you know, for accounting and for legal purposes, is a completely separate entity. It has its own tax return blah 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 blah. So
Right.
and that's where if you want, did you say you did want to be on the payroll or you didn't want to be on the
I
payroll?
do, and that's what I said. I know all about that because I even as with my clients that when they become a sole proprietorship
Mm-hmm.
or like say they're a corporation and they're just taking money out, as soon as I see that, I just tell them you need to get on the payroll. That's the difference when you're a corporation. You
Right.
need to be on the payroll. You can't just take money out like as a sole proprietorship. You take, pay yourself however you want, write yourself a check.
Mm-hmm.
Different when you're a corporation. And I can't take out payroll because I'm a sole prop.
Now remember, if you want to be on your own payroll, you have to pay yourself according to your experience. So if you decide you want to be on, your own payroll, you have to pay yourself as if you worked for a company. So
Yeah.
you have to pay yourself adequately, because if you just decide, oh, I'm gonna pay myself $1,000 a month, just to say, it may not be sufficient if you worked for somebody else who would.
Yeah, it's got to be a reasonable compensation for
It's based on how much money. I mean, if you're, making 30,000 and taking home 30,000, yeah, exactly. If you're only making 10,000 and if you had a job, you'd make 30.
Yeah.
But the point is, there's really no difference in putting yourself on the payroll and paying both shares of the FICA, one through the corporation and then one, as an employee. For an S corp, and then flip, or the difference between just a business return where you're paying self-employment tax. Is it for the convenience of getting the taxes in and out of your checkbook?
I guess what I'm going to get to is I think about Social Security and all that because I don't want to
Pay that in anyway.
like with all my stuff, but I have like SEP IRA. I try to just, and basically what it really boils down to is I always worry that you never know. I mean, I never want to get sued. I've never ever had any issues.
Okay.
But I want to, all really have my assets are my home and other things that I have, and I'm not married. I'm divorced, and I want to make sure that if anything happens to me, I already have a living trust. And what so I want to make sure that none of my assets get touched because that's everything I have. I want it to go to my daughter.
Right. So if you set aside the convenience of paying taxes or the benefits of paying taxes if you're the only employee through an S corp versus just a business tax return, then if you look at liability protection, asset protection,
You may want to look at insurance.
a corporation is going to be the safest way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to an attorney. Attorneys are selling these things like crazy. Accountants are even, So I would like to talk to attorneys who are defending LLCs and defending S corps because the December that I was a sole proprietorship, my ex-husband wrote a quote for software, no labor, software. Real world. And in January, they accepted my contract, but I had become a corporation. Well, he failed to put INC on my contract.
Oh, wow.
Because back then we had stationery,
Yeah.
So the quote didn't have an ink on it, and my stationery for the thank you in the contract and all it didn't have. It was actually a sales. I mean, he paid us for a product. So then this was in Charleston. So we were introduced to this store by a CPA, their CPA. Another CPA who did real world installations decided to pull drunk that weekend and doesn't show up. So we're like, oh, this poor family, it's like an elderly guy's been in business for 60 years and all, it's accounting software. We can at least get you over the hump till you find somebody, So do we have a contract? No.
Oh, no.
Is this before email? Do you have any proof of anything? It's on the phone, The only thing that saved my arse 4 years later was I'm a pack rat, and I save all the faxes, and we started talking to him through the fax machine.
They put it in writing.
So, yeah, long story longer. What it boils down to is they had always been manual. All the modules worked beautifully, but when they got to inventory, he would like, well, I would just want to put a value on that rack of clothes over there. And I was like, no, sir, it's so many widgets times so much, you know. Oh, I don't want to do it that way. And then he wanted to do layaway. He wanted to charge sales tax and sell as they made payments, and I was like, well, you don't sell the sleeve and
Right.
then the pant leg, you know. You couldn't talk any sense into him, and it just got worse and worse. So we hired somebody who was trained in real. We did everything in our power to save this guy, to save this company. We would drive all the way to South Carolina for a training with all the kids who were in their 30s, and they'd blow in late and dogs run. Okay. It finally got so bad, I said, make them go away. They are calling, he had a foul language.
Oh,
He would call. I said, you know, I, as a wife, said, I'm done. The CPA that we had hired that trained, his wife was like, we're done. The men are bringing it home, you know. So anyway, so we quit. And at one point, we offered him his money, $8,000 money back on the software if he would just leave us alone. The man would not stop harassing us, right? And then we got sued.
Mm.
This guy filed a lawsuit. Me personally, my husband personally, my corporation, the CPA who introduced us, Real World. I can't even tell you. And we're like, you know, and so here I am, this little accountant. I don't do tax returns. I never had insurance for malpractice insurance, you know. We had liability insurance, but if somebody trips.
You have errors and omissions?
No. I'm thinking I do write-up. Back then I did write-up, and we installed Quicken had come out. You know, it was like, I'm talking about a long time ago. So
Wow, that is a long time ago.
anyway, long story longer, this ended up, I can't tell you the legal fees. It was topping $20,000 a piece.
Oh my gosh.
And
See, that's why I worry sometimes. You never know, you know. I mean,
5-day jury trial.
oh my god.
But because you know what? It was the big bad salespeople who ripped off the dapper little old man with the bow tie and his little grandchildren in the front. I call it a pew. The front row of the court. And he was just so. What happened is he loves to sue people. That was his hobby.
Oh my goodness.
And he tried to tell us that after being in business for, 45, 50 years, that software told him to over-order $275,000 worth of clothes that he can't sell. I mean, it was so ridiculous. But, you get into court, and so the attorney, I had to have an attorney, he had to have an attorney. And you get into court, and we sat through the jury selection. You want to get terrified? Sit through that. So they specifically picked out all these young people. They had no clue what we were talking about.
Wow.
And it's in the middle of summer, and the sun is coming through the windows, and the judge had to keep waking them up. and because it was so boring. It was contract law, our word against his. And so we're having to explain how software works and how accounting works. These people are like, so there was a I don't want to take up the whole time of this, but long story long, there was a controller on the panel on the edge of his seat. And he was like this the whole time. And so our attorney said, it'll be a 2-day jury trial and you'll be home. This is just like a no-brainer. By Wednesday, I was at Walmart buying blouses, because we had to stay,
Right.
By Friday, I got up Friday and I said, I've lost my home. it upsets me to this day. I said, that lion SOB is going to take everything I have. And when they got to the closing arguments, what saved us was at the last second, they had this whole thing about how he went to the Citadel and honor and character and all this stuff. And my attorney gets up there and goes, I went to the Citadel. He goes like that. And he says, sir, he said, let me read to you your deposition from 4 years ago where he admitted that he didn't, see, the inventory module was in beta. Big deal, right? So where they drilled him about what a beta software was, you know, and he knew full well it was beta. And the point is, he nailed him on all these lies, just boom, 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 boom. And all of a sudden, the jury woke up, and they went out to deliberate, and they came back, and they said that he won. And I'm like, and they said, yeah, for the original $8,000 that we promised to give his money back. And we went, yes, because
Yeah, at that point it's $28,000 now.
Well, yeah, but $8,000 in another state, they got pennies on the dollar by the time they got paid. I can't even tell you, they got nothing. But his attorney, the guy was so angry because his legal fees were through the roof. But that is the reason I tell that lesson is when I see corporations signing documents with personal names and not signing as the corporation, or they don't have ink on documents and things like that, I don't think people realize how easy it is for attorneys to pierce, those corporate shields. So the LLC is another one of those legal things that the lawyers came up with, and if you don't do it just right, it is totally worthless. Totally worthless. So if you just want to, you're going to have to do quarterlies and W-2s and all that. If it's worth it for you, you're going to have to incorporate. I did it myself. You don't have to have an attorney to do it, but it's better to do it with an attorney. You're now going to have to be subject to W-2s and quarterlies, which you're an accountant, so you can do that. Separate bank account. Do it at the beginning of the year. Make it simple so you don't have to do 2 tax returns. But when you're so small like you are, I'm almost apt to say do the LLC, but just do it right.
Yeah.
You have insurance. Do you have the errors and omissions insurance, Yvette?
Yes, I have errors and omissions, but I hear errors and omissions isn't even that won't protect your assets.
No, it
You
won't.
have to get, as a matter of fact, my accountant told me to try to get an insurance through one of my through the National Association that I belong to. Sometimes they offer insurance like protection insurance, not errors and omissions. It's a whole different professional insurance. It's what it's called.
With an umbrella?
Yeah. So I'm checking into that too. So because she basically told me I would just carry on the way you're carrying on. She's an accountant, been an accountant for over 30. She's getting ready to retire, and she's sole proprietorship, and she's done very well. I mean, she's got a house on the hill and everything, really nice lady. But and I guess I'm just thinking about all this stuff for various reasons. It's the end of the year, and every year I meet my goals. This is the one year I didn't meet my goals, although I made double the money I made last year.
That's a good thing. That's a problem.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know, but there's some things like I really wanted to have all my team. I really want to get a team, just in place and have a good, solid team that, because I want to move to the next level where I'm not so much in the business like I am. And I don't know if that'll ever happen because I like to know everything that goes on,
Mm-hmm.
I like to, take care of it. I tell everybody I have 2 babies, my daughter and my business. My business, I started it from the ground up. I'm going on my 10th year.
Oh, there you go.
Put a lot of
That's awesome.
work into it and a lot of pride in it, and so I want to just, change things a little bit. And this is one year that I'm like 3 goals short And even though I made a lot of money this year, more than I ever have, it just kind of like bummed that I didn't meet those goals.
Right.
Well, I'm an LLC, and I have separate, personal and business. Actually, my personal is in Quicken, the new one, the 13 for me. And it syncs itself with my personal accounts. I have 3 personal accounts that all syncs in that software. QuickBooks has my 3 business accounts, and it syncs. And like you, Sarah, I updated everything to LLC, took my name off. My clients freaked out because when they call, they say the name of the company, and they're like, Christina?
Christina?
And they say, yeah, it's Christina, but this is the name of her company. So, they kind of had to get used to that. All the business cards and all the advertisements that we do, everything's under company name. It's not under me. So usually when the clients come in and they want to pay me, and write my name on the check. No. Write the company name on the check, because when I go in and I deposit that check, when I get a printout, on my bank statements, it says Hannah Gerard Group. It doesn't say Christina. And I have the LLC on everything. So even the phone, when the phone rings, or if I call somebody, it has the LLC on it. Even if I abbreviate,
There's a woman who knows what she's doing.
LLC, I have my EIN. It's a flow through, so I'm all on the 1040 as a sole proprietorship. My goal is to hire 2 employees for the upcoming year. So even though I'm a flow through and I'm going to stay LLC, the wages are going to be on my 1040, my Schedule C. My Schedule C for me is my tax return. And because I do taxes and I do it for everybody else, I have to make sure my numbers and everything matches. So before I do my finals, you do your adjusting entries and stuff at the end. You make sure those numbers match exactly. So when you have your trial balance, everything matches. So it's just like I'm doing books for anybody else. So like I said, I try to encourage the clients to go LLC, and also to get the insurance. I have my professional insurance. I have my general liability. I have my E&O. My professional liability, I think, my professional insurance, I think when I got it was $100,000. It's probably going to have to double, of course. And then workers' comp, I'm very small, so I don't have to worry about the healthcare side. I can do a step if I want to. I can even have the employees join in if they want. They get a benefit. So, I's dotted, T's crossed.
That's right. So
you make that decision for yourself, because my income actually, my profit at the end of the year, it actually doubled. Happy, but not happy because then it's more income taxes I pay.
Right.
That's okay.
I know, isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? And clients do that too. They complain that,
But I mean, you think about it, well, I guess now it's going to be estimated payments that are going to be made, but that's fine and dandy with me as long as I don't have to pay too much at the end.
Right.
Because when I file, I do have kids, so my kids are on my tax return, so they're my dependents. So
I did find it was easier to do. It's weird. Like when I bought this house, it was easier to have a corporation and W-2s and separate tax returns and all this than it was when I was a sole proprietorship. I don't know why.
What was that you just said?
Well, I was just thinking back and some of the benefits of being a corporation, and not dealing with estimated payments is nice. But I remember buying this house. I remember the house before that. I was a sole proprietor. Oh my gosh.
They want everything.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And then when I was a corporation, it just seemed easier.
Well, yeah, because you have less. You don't have to include your personal assets in there.
Right.
When you flow through, of course, you got to do business and personal for that tax return.
So just the W-2 on the
W-2s. That's what I was going to say.
But don't worry about Social Security, because you're getting Social Security paid in either way.
Yeah, I know.
But I do want to say, Yvette, if you do become an S corp, you have 2 tax returns at the end of the year you have to do.
Pay for or due.
You have to do your regular 1040 plus you have an 1120S.
Sure.
Do.
Right.
Yeah.
And Tina, are you a sole proprietor?
I'm an LLC. I'm a single member LLC.
Sole proprietor, yeah.
File as a sole proprietor, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right. I have one tax return. I pay my annual fees to Louisiana, and I'm a notary, so I have to pay the annual fees for that. And I have my surety bond for that. So I have a lot of insurance.
I know, I'm insurance poor. I tell you what, after that episode, boy, you think I was a pack rat before?
Boy, I should spin the camera around so y'all can see my office.
We have somebody new that just joined us. Dwayne.
Yeah, hi, how are you?
Oh, Dwayne
Hi.
Johnson. Hey, Dwayne, how are you?
All right, how are you, Yvette?
So glad you made it. You finally made it.
Yeah, I sure did. I was actually on a call with the client, and I realized that the time I got into where we were going to have the session, so I tried to get off as quickly as I could.
That's great. Everybody, this is Dwayne. He's a colleague. I talked to him, a couple times, and I told him about Gina's show, and he's here. Good. I'm so glad you made it, Dwayne.
Well, thank you so much. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
It's good to have
He's
you.
an enrolled agent. Dwayne is an enrolled agent, and I know you have another title as well, too, Dwayne, don't you?
Oh, I'm a QuickBooks Pro advisor, and I have an MBA, and that's about it.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Oh, well, all the QuickBooks people are ready for me.
And Larry snuck in.
Hi, Larry. So, Christina, you have
Hello.
a question that you wanted to go over before we end today. You had a problem with your enterprise solutions opening up in multi-user mode.
Correct.
You want to explain?
Like I said, Sarah had asked about that if my computer was a workstation. It's just like I said, basically a computer that serves as a server. I actually upgraded the memory and the hard drive so that, it doesn't run out of room, and it's set, and it does its backup and all that other great stuff to keep my clients' files. So all my client files and everything is on there. My laptop, my personal laptop, serves as the server for my tax software because I'm the only one that preps the returns. So the issue here that I had was with the version 14, I didn't have any problems with the multi-user mode. It upgraded to 15, still no problems. I'm in the process of hiring one bookkeeper, and so I created 2 dummy companies, from the sample file, and changed some stuff around. And after I set up the companies, and I could see them on the workstation, when I switched to multi-user mode, it wouldn't let me enter my company. So every time I go to enter my company, I get an error H505 when opening company. And it talks about the hosting. So that server that I have hosts the program. No one uses the file or anything. I did install the Enterprise on there, but I don't use it. Never did. And by the way, it has XP on it, guys. I was going to switch it up to the
Windows
7 Pro that I have, but of course, it's going to wipe out my hard drive, so I have to take the time probably over the break to move everything to one hard drive that doesn't have the operating system on it and put the other one on there. But like I said, before I even did those dummy companies, it was working fine. Now it's just not working.
Can you try putting the database on a Windows 7 machine and see if you can open it in multi-user?
My laptop has Windows 8. Actually, my laptop had crashed in October. I think I had told you guys. It had crashed. I had to send it away. So when HP sent it back, of course, they overwrote my Windows 7 I had on there. They put the original 8 back on, so my tax software can work with the Windows 8, so I just left it on. But after installing everything back on there, I didn't have any issues until now with those dummy companies.
Can I
And
ask,
unfortunately need it on there for at least till tomorrow for the other girl to do a test.
what version of QuickBooks are you using for your regular work? 14?
Initially it was 14 and then it upgraded to 15.
Okay, so 15's your year, right? That you need 15. But
Yeah.
okay, in Pro and Premier or Enterprise?
Enterprise, the enterprise accountant.
Okay, so it's not the demo data file, it's you need to have Enterprise in your office, right?
Correct, because I have 5 users.
Okay, so everybody's got a workstation, and you're just using this old XP machine in the corner to hold all your data files, and everybody's
Correct.
sharing. Okay, so you're saying 15 worked fine until you did the dummy accounts, or when you went to 15?
Yeah.
Guess what?
Only till I did the dummy companies.
Okay,
That doesn't make any
that
sense.
doesn't make any
I
sense.
know, because you see in the dummy companies, I switched to multi-user mode in the dummy companies, and I think that may have been the issue.
It's just a data file. A dummy company is just a data file. It's not going to know the difference between your data file and a dummy data. I mean, it's just a sample data file. So okay, so explain something. All right, so you've got your regular workstations in the office, and you have Enterprise loaded on them.
Correct.
Okay, and then what did you load on your little server when you converted to 15 and it was working? Did you install the whole program, or just
No, nothing.
or just the little database guy?
It only has the company file and the database, because I scanned it to make sure before I created the dummies. I scanned the database file to make sure it could still see.
No, wait a minute, hold it, back up. I'm talking about something different. When you install the program, you have a choice of installing the full-blown QuickBooks or
The data file manager?
just the data file manager, because it'll say, are you going to use this computer to work on, or you just want it to hold data?
I only did the data file manager.
Okay, so you don't have Enterprise on that machine. You only have the data manager. You can't go to that desktop and go into QuickBooks. It's not on there, right?
Correct.
Okay, so you put in the data manager, and it's an XP machine, and you still could use 15 on your newer machines.
Correct.
Okay, so that's interesting. So we know that the data manager will still work on an old XP machine. Okay, so now what did you do different? You were on your...
Moment, Dennis, I think you're... Go out and come back in. You're being Mickey Mouse.
He's got aliens.
Yeah.
You had that problem this morning.
He has right.
That was funny.
He's Mickey Mouse.
I have that problem periodically, too.
Well, he was killing me. I was getting that lag, Sarah. I couldn't even understand what you were saying.
Oh, with me? Oh.
Yeah, because when it came in, it was lagging, so I was sitting here trying to read you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm usually so loud.
But Dennis left. Now he's back, so now I can still talk.
Okay, so I'm trying to chronologically walk through what happened. Okay, so you've got all these workstations, they're using Enterprise, your data's on the little XP server, and everything's cool. Now, what did you do different with these demos? You're on your own workstation, right? Because that's the only place you have Enterprise.
Correct.
And you opened one of the dummy, or you made some, or you copied some?
I made some on my workstation. So I opened it. You know how you can open the samples.
All right.
So I opened the sample on my workstation. Okay. Did some changes and created a dummy corp so that the girls can do the practice test.
And then you moved it over to your little server?
And then, nope, not on the server, on my workstation. Okay. I never went to the server.
You never even went to there.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So after I created the sample company and everything, I clicked switch to multi-user mode and saved them. Okay. You know, I created the users and all of that great stuff, and I saved them. Then I tried to get into my company file so that I could download my bank feeds and update my, my bank.
I wonder if the enterprise on your workstation now thinks it's a host.
I think that's probably what happened.
That could be it.
Yeah. I don't think it's your little server.
Go into, is it utilities and stop hosting?
Something like that. Oh, look, I have a QuickBooks file open. Let's see, file.
Or is it under multi?
New company, open previous, open second, backup, create, close, switch, utilities.
I thought that, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, go to utilities, and mine says host multi-user access because I shouldn't be a host. See if yours is different.
But if you do the F2, it should tell you who the host is in the database.
Seriously?
Mine,
Okay, I gotta do it. Hold on.
Okay, hold on, wait. Mine says, okay, I have my, where it says no company open, right?
Yeah.
My utility says that I'm hosting.
Yes, turn that off.
I shouldn't be hosting.
Right.
No.
That's the problem. You can't have two hosting. You're fighting each other. They're fighting.
Stop hosting. Do you want to stop? Okay. All right.
So you go to the product information screen, and somewhere on here, that I look on this all the time, somewhere on here says where you're
On
hosted.
the bottom.
So what you said, F2?
Bottom of it.
Oh, off, and then the server.
So I can do that before I open a company?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It's a software related, not data related. Oh my gosh, look at my file fragments. I'm glad I went in here.
Well, nothing's in here, of course, because no company is open.
Yeah.
So it says hosting off.
Okay.
Because y'all told me turn it off. Okay. All right.
Well, then that's good news if you can fix it that way that you can still salvage your little XP machine for a while. Just don't let it go on the as long as nobody's getting on it and going to the internet.
You know what I would try doing, Christina? Can you scroll to that?
Okay, online.
Oh, my company's going to try to open. Can I scroll to what, Gina?
And let your company open. If it's trying to open, you're fixed. But I was going to say, try and go into the other computer that's hosting and double-click on the data file there so it opens back on your desktop. See if you can open it.
My company open. Oh, yes. Sorry, I was trying to host.
We fixed you.
Yay!
Girl, I was in here crying. Now, the only other issue is every time I click bank feeds, it says QuickBooks is stopped. I don't know why.
That I didn't know. Bank feeds.
In desktop?
Yeah.
Oh, I know what that means. That means it's time for you to stop working.
That's been since Wednesday, Joanne. It's been since Wednesday.
Why Misha's not here. She was having a surgery, remember?
She's having a what?
She's having she had surgery yesterday.
Oh, that's right. That's where she is.
Oh, girl, everything's open. I can even do bank feeds.
Oh, Christina's happy.
Oh, girl, I have like no money.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Oh my God, I got $28 left to carry me through next month.
Nice.
Shouldn't admit that on air now.
That's okay. At
I'm
least
wrong in it. I'm not good.
Hey,
There's always GoFundMe. You can do a GoFundMe campaign.
That's good.
girl,
I
Well,
just looked up. Why am I looking at? Okay.
that's great. At least, cause girl, it wouldn't read or nothing. And I know I was working on my my QuickBooks Online certification, so I was like testing the sample company because of course they say you can use your company or use something else as a test file or whatever.
Oh yeah, you always want to have if you can do dual monitors and get it. Yeah. When you
Yeah,
test
so
them.
I was trying, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna use my company as the dummy, download some transactions and then turn it off.
Mhm.
And I turned on and I took all my bank accounts off of it. Okay, because after I downloaded the files, I just, I didn't need it to stay on the QuickBooks Online. I just wanted to try it and see if it worked, and how you can use a credit card or use a check to kind of see how the transactions go, to test them out. So after a while, I took it off, and I couldn't get my QuickBooks Online on my desktop to read. It wouldn't download the files. It kept saying QuickBooks has to close. And I was having a major meltdown. Okay, so now that's working.
That's
So-
good.
Yay.
Oh, I'm so happy we solved something. I like being productive. Because today I didn't really feel productive today. All I want to do is hang out on Joanne's YouTube channel.
Wow.
Me? My
Y'all
channel?
should hang out. Y'all should go check out Joanne's.
Which
YouTube.
one? Which channel?
Wow.
The one where you're doing all the cool crafts and.
Oh yeah.
I saw that, Joanne.
Well, because I got a new channel now. I started a new one.
Oh,
So.
really?
Perfect last minute gift. View.
Oh, it wasn't me.
Gift. Put the link in the window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something about.
I'm a YouTube junkie. I'll go and check it out.
I wanted to see what you're doing in Dollar Tree.
Hey,
Oh yeah, that's my new one.
Christina, you do payroll, right?
No, not now. None of my clients, all my clients are cash basis sole proprietors.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, they don't have the payroll. I'm glad they don't because
This year's gonna be there.
I have too much stuff to do
Payroll,
right now.
I always recommend somebody to my client, like ADP or Paychex, but now I'm trying Zen Payroll.
Okay.
Will they let you do the quarterlies and bill for the quarterlies, or did they do the quarterlies too?
They do it. I mean, I think you could option to do it yourself or whatever, but I don't want to do it, so.
I make good money doing quarterlies.
Yeah, I bet you do. Yeah, it's like me in sales tax. I like to.
Sales tax, property tax, business tax returns. Those are my.
Okay, I have to close today.
Bye, Gina. Just leave us talking.
I can do that. I can let you guys talk if you'd like and leave you on. It's up to you.
Who's going to cut us off? Oh, we just have to leave?
Will the last one out turn off the lights?
Well, actually, I control the stop broadcast, and I won't be back here probably for another 2-3 hours.
So if anybody logs in, they're going to see your bookshelf?
Well, I'll put my
Put a piece of paper over your.
So you won't be seeing my bookshelf. If you want to stay on, I'll leave it up.
Yeah, put a piece of paper over it.
Oh, go to your party. Okay.
Well,
Put a post-it. Put a post-it over your.
Yeah. So you guys, okay?
And, I might have Downton Abbey might be viewing soon, so I'll be sending you a link.
Awesome. Thank you so much. My favorite show.
Yeah.
You're watching it on the internet, right? So it hasn't hit the States yet, right?
Right.
Are you Yvette, are you watching it from one of those BBC Live channels?
No, I watched it on. I don't even want. I hope nobody hears it because I don't want anybody to turn it off or something.
I know how to watch it. I didn't realize it was starting.
I'll tell you how I watch it on the chat. Okay.
Yeah.
But
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, Gina.
Bye, Gina. Bye.
Have fun.
bye.
Yeah, I want to know how to get to Downton Abbey.
I
You guys are
yeah.
like, what?
I just
My husband is as addicted as I
I've been
am.
to that one before too, Yvette. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I've seen everything but the Christmas special, which is supposed to. I don't know if it came out last week or it's coming out on the 25th or this week.
Yeah.
So I haven't even looked. I'm so busy. But yeah, I love Downton Abbey. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
Did anybody see? I posted last night about Martha Stewart and Miss Potter or Miss Pottermore, whatever her name is, the one that's the head cook for Downton.
Yeah.
No.
Martha Stewart did a gingerbread remake, gingerbread castle of Downton Abbey.
Oh, cool.
And the head cook.
I'm looking at your channel, Joanne.
Yeah.
Are you?
I'm looking at your channel, so if I'm quiet.
Oh, that's okay. Just keep on watching as many videos you want, because I get money.
Oh, cool.
Well, you can say that, girl. I told you I'm a YouTube junkie.
That link is that I just put in the chat is for anything that's on BBC. So anything that's currently live streaming in England on BBC, you can watch on that link.
Oh, great. So have you watched the Downton Abbey season 5?
No, I haven't. I actually like to wait till that's all done and I just binge watch it because I have no
Me
patience.
too. My husband likes to do that too. We'll just because I get so frustrated that I have to wait. I have no patience. So
I don't
I'd rather
like to
just
wait.
save them up.
Yep, I save them up and just watch them all like with no sleep and just watch them one after another.
I just wanted to reach out here to Dwayne. Hey, Dwayne, are you still there?
Oh, yes, I am.
Talking about everything but accounting,
We
Dwayne.
normally don't talk about Downton Abbey and stuff. We're usually all the time, bring up topics about, like we started today on my topic that I was trying to debate whether to. I'm a sole proprietorship and debating whether to go into an S corp or an LLC and stuff like that. So we talk a lot about accounting matters and QuickBooks, and we also have fun.
Well, it sounds like it. You sound like
It's like Friday night. It's almost 6:30 here, so.
Yeah.
I'm probably the most disruptive because some of y'all are still in work mode. It's the middle of the day, and I'm like,
Haven't seen you on
out of here.
Sarah, we haven't seen you on the morning hangouts in the last couple of weeks.
Oh, I know. This morning I had my own hangout. It was. I can't tell you how great it was because we do these conference calls with these treasurers all over the country, and so we have some new treasurers, and I'm like, you don't happen to have Google Plus, do you? And she's like, yeah, I'm in Gmail. And I'm like, well, do this. And all of a sudden, boom, there she was. And I'm going, hi. And she's like, oh, my gosh, there you are. So we started at it. And the one lady that is so anti-computers and, so professional, it was so funny because, and I thought, I'll never get her on a hangout. And so this morning she said, well, I'll join you guys, thinking it was a conference call. And I said, well, really, I need to show some screens, so we're going to be on a hangout. And I said, do you have a Gmail account? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, good, let's go. It was awesome because I could flip in and out of QuickBooks. I could have my Excel. We were looking, they could see where I was having difficulty with consolidations and the budget and everything, and then somebody said, well, wait a minute, I posted, I go, yeah, let me flip over to your books, and so it was visual. We all seemed to relax, and it wasn't as, it was more personal, and, but what was I doing wrong with the stupid screen sharing? Because I had Excel, and so I would share it, and I clicked on my little picture. But they said every time somebody talked, the darn Excel was popping up and going away, and faces were popping. And so everybody was like, don't say anything. If you made a noise, your face popped up. But it didn't do it. I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know.
And you let Gina leave before she told you.
I know.
I think there's a screen share option that says that you send it to everybody or something like that.
Well, I tried that.
Yeah.
And that made all our little faces going away.
Right. That's what happens whenever Seth does his. Because when he does the screen shares.
Yeah, and then the video is really boring because you can't see us carrying on with our dogs and stuff.
I'm so glad we have these, hangouts that we could do that. I meet my clients. I have clients that I've never met.
Mm-hmm.
They want to see me, whatever we do, a hangout or Skype sometimes even. But I love it. It's so convenient.
What, Thanksgiving, everything, all these little lost leaders at Staples, and so I got new cameras, and so I gave the cameras to my bookkeepers, and they're like, we don't want that. I'm like, oh, put on some lipstick. I said, because the clients are starting to get the computers with the little cameras in them and all that, and I said it really does make the world smaller and more personable, you know, and sometimes you just solve things when you're talking instead of this email stuff going back and forth, and sometimes you just want to look at something together, and so you know you do the join. Even the Join Me's got a camera.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's, you know, so yeah, we're.
Y'all read that, huh? Just see him in the back, stretching.
What's so fun is I get frustrated when I'm joining you guys on my iPad because I can't see the chat, and I just think if the public knew what we were chatting.
Stop.
Yeah, Penny's allowed in on Friday nights.
Stop.
Yeah, and I've put a sign on the door that, you know, it's bring your dog to work day, so knock.
Well, my daughter left. You should have told me.
Oh, sure. Penny, we're on camera. Oh, I want to tell you something funny. The meeting this. See, I hope they don't watch this. Hi. When we were on the Hangout, you know, fortunately our pictures are pretty small unless you're talking, and we're busy. I mean, we're talking business, so you know, I don't care what's in the background. And so a bunch of people popped off, and we had there were 3 of us left, and I went, Mrs. C, she's in her guest room, which is where her computer is. I said, Mrs. C, are those your panties hanging in the background? She got one of those folding racks, drying racks. She had her underwear all over it. And all of a sudden she goes,
Oh my gosh, I would have been so embarrassed.
well, who was it? Was it Debbie, Deborah, that her husband, that she was in, her husband walked by naked and behind her? You remember that? Fortunately, she wasn't talking, so it wasn't big, but somebody went, it was one of those.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God, forever on YouTube.
Oh, that's one of these days I'm gonna go back and watch it just because I didn't see it. I saw his head go by, but
Talk about balls.
yeah, yeah. Well, Misha to this day likes her camera right here
Yeah.
because she had her camera in the wrong place and it was all her chest one time. And Bruce
Yeah,
was
I
in the
remember
wrong
that.
time, so. You know, this whole video, it's a learning thing. It's a you know, so. But yeah. Anyway, but I tell you what, I used to work for Pricewaterhouse, a huge firm, and I can't tell you, when I went on my own, it gets lonely. No, it really does. After the employees leave and everything.
I work by myself almost all the time. It's crazy. I mean,
It breaks it up, and then it's nice to be able to bounce things off people. And what, honey? She's hungry. I know.
sometimes I sometimes even wonder if I should ever get into partnership. You know, I've been in a partnership before. Did not like it.
I wouldn't do it.
I know.
I tell you what, I look forward to the days when I'm alone in my office now.
Well, yeah, because
They give me a freaking headache sometimes. Stop asking questions, leave me alone, let me get some work done.
That's
Yeah.
it. And they scared to knock on your door if you close it.
Well, my assistant's in my office with me, so.
Oh, you gotta kick her out. You can't work.
Well, that's where her desk is, so there's
Oh, girl.
So I don't have her come every day. I have her stay home 2 days a week so I can have peace 2 days a
Good
week.
point. Yeah, good point. I like the peace and quiet when they're all gone, but there's something about. Well, my husband works for a regional firm. He's the IT director, so I get to go to the parties and things. So it's almost like I get the perks without having to deal with a boss.
Yeah.
And every time he starts, I don't want to do this for a living. I'm like, don't you leave?
We love being an employee again.
I'm living vicariously through my husband.
We want to be an employee again, that's for sure.
Oh, I would so
Yeah,
fire
being
me. We were talking about this
I'm
morning.
thankful that I own my own business. I'll tell you, there's nothing's perfect, but there is something to be said for owning your own business.
Mm-hmm.
There's freedom like today. I stop when I want to. I mean, I do work late hours. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'm up at 2 o'clock in the morning working, but you know, I get to spend time with my daughter whenever she gets home from school. I mean, I pick her up. We do stuff together and go on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I couldn't do that if I worked for a company. There's no way.
Yeah.
Kind of gear your schedule.
I can come with her.
I see you kind of gear your schedule. You know, if you're a morning person, you get to 5 o'clock in the morning and work. If you're you know, late night person, you work till 2 in the morning.
Right.
Well, that would be me because I'm a night person. I can't work when there are people here, so when everybody leaves, then I can work.
Yeah,
So-
that's a common problem with us or us, you know, that are on our own. I've found a pattern of, you know, sometimes, you know, everybody leaves at 3, and I go, take me with you. And then other times like, well, you get out of here so I can start my day. And then, you know, so it's a bad habit to get into to work nights, hi honey, nights and weekends because it's quiet. Because what happens is you end up working all the time. So I get better at it, and then
I could so relate to that because sometimes I even start thinking maybe I should get rent some space and just put my office there and have people come work there, because having my office at home, I'm always in it. I mean, sometimes my daughters, come on, mommy, can you just? It's time to spend time together, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard because I have all my work here, you know.
Right.
And sometimes I think it'd be better if I detach myself, have a building, an office space that I rent somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, I've gone full circle. I started with big fancy offices. No. I went home, and then worked out at home, and then started hiring people. Then I had the big fancy offices downtown. There, the whole swag suit. See, I'm Pricewaterhouse. I mean, pantyhose, the whole stupidity. And then I built offices, so I brought it back home while we were doing construction.
Wow.
And then I go back out, and I've got 3,000 square feet and 6 employees and overhead and personnel problems and
Yeah.
and went. So then I said, okay, if I come back home, I can't do the in the home thing. I can't. I have to be able to be at work or at home. Because if I'm at work, I don't want to feel like I should be doing laundry, and if I'm doing laundry, I don't feel like going. So I added this addition with a separate entrance, separate AC, separate light. I mean, when I go home, the lights go off, and I, you know, cut through the file room and the, you know, laundry room, and then I go home, you know. So I'm here, but I'm, you know, and then I can work from home. Because if I'm on my laptop, I'm actually just already peeing into this machine. So I can actually work from home.
Yeah.
But
What about that?
I would never work from home again if I hadn't have done this arrangement, because you've got to be able to turn your mind off. The only problem is with these new devices and iPads and iPhones and all that, it's not letting us.
Yes, leave work. Yes, we're still at work.
But I'm addicted to that stupid little Facebook page.
You know what I like to do is, gosh, my phone. I don't know how to turn this off. Do any of you have?
Just press the button on the side.
Do you guys have? Because I have all my Mac devices and I had all my stuff upgraded to Yosemite. And so when my phone rings, it rings on all my computers.
Oh.
That's my phone.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Talk about being hooked up.
Yeah,
I'm not in Mac world.
You know. Yeah. So, anyways, but I gotta run because I have to return.
Yeah, it's like what? It's 5:34 over here.
Yeah. You guys all have a Merry Christmas, Dwayne.
Y'all
I'm
have
so
a
glad you made
blessed
it.
Merry Christmas.
Christmas, everyone.
Yes, Merry Christmas, Dwayne. I'm so glad you made it here, and I hope you join next week.
Bye, Larry.
Yeah,
Sure.
don't let me talk
Thank you
so
for
much.
inviting
Jump in.
Bye.
Yay.
What's the next
Bye,
thing?
everybody.
Everybody spend the night watching my YouTube.
Okay, we will. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
now.